Hi, welcome to Aimee Nolte Music. Sometimes I get questions about how to play solo piano, and I know that I don't address them often enough, and that's because pretty much I'm a singer piano player, so I'm kind of always thinking about accompanying myself. But it's good to play solo piano. Everybody loves solo piano, right? Anyway, today we're going to work on what Paul McCartney called the best song ever written by Brian Wilson, God Only Knows. And I kind of agree with him. I think it's an amazing song for so many reasons. And I'd like to show you the lead sheet that I wrote for it and show you how I would go about playing this song on solo piano. If you'd like the lead sheet, you can always email me and I'll send it to you. But you're gonna kind of have to use your brains on this one. I'm not gonna write down every single thing for you. I'm gonna kind of show you a method of how you're gonna get your head around this and be able to just look at a lead sheet and play in this style. Now this style, I call it the bouncy quarter note. I don't know what else it's called, but a lot of songs have this style, and I kind of adore it. In fact, I wrote a song with this style. It's called The Way It Was. It was on my first album. But I love it. I love the bouncy quarter note. And there's one little trick. There's one little trick that I think people miss. It's a subtlety in your left hand that's going to make all the difference. That's what it is. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So you're hitting 1 and then between 2 and 3 on the and of 2, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Like that. So also the and of 4. You might want to just kind of count it and punch those in your counting. So if you're going to change chords, you're going to re-attack 1. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. So you're always attacking 1, the and of 2, the and of 4, and 1 again. So the and of 4 and 1 happen, boom, boom, like that, right up close to each other. So the other thing I'm going to do a lot of the time is I'm going to play the root, and then on the and of 2, I'm going to play the 5th, and then I'm going to go back to the root for the and of 4, and then I'm going to play the new root for 1. So like in this song, it's an A major chord going to an E major chord with a G sharp in the bass. So it would sound like this. Just back and forth between those two. I'm picking my foot up off of the pedal about on every 1 and every 3 also. Okay, let's get into it. I'll show you my hand. Okay, actually I lied. I'm going to show you the lead sheet first, at least the first part of it. So, I'm just going to show you how this is going to sound. I'll play maybe the first 8 bars for you. You see how I started on the and of 4? 2. It's just kind of to get you into that. 2, 3, 4. It'll sound when we're done, pretty much. All right, now to my hands. So we start with the introduction. We've got a C sharp in the melody. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make the A chord around that C sharp so that the C sharp is the top note in our inversion. So really it's an A major chord, right? This is the first inversion of an A major chord. We take the A, we put it on top, but we want the C sharp on top, so not on the bottom, because it's the note in the melody. Okay, this is kind of our basic principle for how to arrange a song for solo piano, especially in the rock pop style. So we put the C sharp on top, and we keep the quarter note going with this part of our hand. We hit the and of 2, we hit the and of 4, and we change our chord. We've got an E on the top now, and an E chord and with a G sharp in the bass. So we're gonna just do this. Again. You can do an octave there. This is an A chord with an F sharp in the bass. Now, we've got these notes. E, E, F sharp, G, and it sounds really nice to play it in fifths, and usually I do it an octave down. And now we're at the top of the tune. So we're gonna hit that D chord. We're gonna keep the quarter notes going with these 3 fingers, and we're gonna play I may not with these notes. It's a quarter note triplet. It's a little bit difficult to do. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to change to a B minor 6 chord. See how I played these notes? And this was part of our bounciness, wasn't it? But as soon as I had to play it in the melody, I just made these be the bouncy quarter notes. You just kind of trade off and make sure that you're always keeping that quarter note pulse. I hope that makes sense. You want to make sure that the quarter notes are quiet too. And that your melody is loud. That takes some practice. Make sure that your melody stays loud and your quarter notes stay quiet. Now the next chord is an F sharp minor chord. And we have to be careful if we're a jazz piano player on this one because it's not F sharp minor 7, it's just F sharp minor. And you gotta be careful, especially on a song like this that is so precise. Brian Wilson, he was a master, he is a master, and he crafts every single chord exactly the way he wants to. You know, the next chord is an F sharp minor 7 over A. Listen how nice that sounds. You can hear it with the other instruments, right? The strings and everything. Oh, it's so beautiful. And it's just how it has to be. You don't need to play a 7 chord on this F sharp minor chord. It's just F sharp minor. Okay? So make sure that you respect the Brian. So there, I've got these notes. I could add the F if I wanted to. Up here because the C sharp's on the top, and we should add the 7 with our thumb. Boom, boom, boom. You gotta keep track of where that quarter note is. You're always keeping the quarter note. It can be a little tricky. Same thing here, remember? Quarter note triplet. Same thing happens here. You never. Now, we've got an F sharp that's going to be in the melody, and it's a C diminished chord. So, it's a little bit tricky to reach to this either way you do it, isn't it? That's an option. Your other option is to reach it here if you can. And you can let go of your C down here. Okay, so there's a couple little tricks that you can use, little cheats. And then we've got an E chord with a B on the bottom. We can do an E in root position here because we've got an E in the melody on the top. Next chord is a C sharp minor with an A sharp in the bass. It's beautiful. Just like that. C sharp minor in second inversion with a G sharp on top. Now an A chord. To an E with a G sharp. me show you the lead sheet while I play this time. You know, the smartest thing for you probably to do is to write to me, get this lead sheet, and then have it out like an actual piece of paper while you're watching this video, so that when I'm only showing my hands, you can actually be seeing the lead sheet. I decided to go ahead and write the melody. That's ridiculous that I didn't have it written before. Okay, I'm going to talk about the left hand a little bit because I didn't really talk about it while I was going through with quarter notes and melody. This is an A in the bass. The extra note we're going to hit is going to be the sixth, a sixth above that, which is the third of the D chord, F sharp. Boom, doom, boom, doom, doom, boom. We're going to keep it there, the F sharp. Boom, doom, doom. Then up to the fifth, the C sharp. Doom, doom. Then to the A. And then we'll jump up a sixth to the F sharp, which is the root. We'll keep a sixth here. We'll go from a B to a G sharp. So it's always nice to keep a sixth or a fifth if you can do it. On the diminished chord, I would keep the sixth again, go from a C to an A, and then here, back. I'd actually keep the seventh here, so we'd do an A sharp to a G sharp. I think it sounds really nice. Here, we'll go back to a fifth. Sixth, fifth, and then. Makes sense? Good, so at that point, all it does is repeat, right? It just goes back and does it again. This next little section to talk about God only knows what I'd be without you. God only knows. Let's talk about that rhythm for a second. You want to punch the quarter notes a little bit. You want to hold on to those notes a little bit longer. Godly. God only knows. You also want to kind of accent knows, but you want to wait on it just a little bit because this song swings. And to just help it along a little bit, you want to try to accent it just like the Beach Boys did. God only knows. God only knows. It's a nice idea to just try to sing it right there on that C sharp. Now, men, that's going to be really high for you. It sounds low for me. God, but for you, it's going to feel very high in your voice. You're going to have to come up high like Brian Wilson and try to hit it. It's going to actually feel like this for you. God, but it won't sound like that. I'm actually going to do a video really soon about how men can sing in tune up high. God only knows what I'd be without you. So I think it's nice. God only knows what I'd be without you. Just to play some quarter notes and actually accompany yourself while you sing, to just make sure that you can, I don't know, that you can articulate the way that these notes feel. And you have to listen to the Beach Boys. You can't just do this on your own. You've got to go back and listen to the Beach Boys. They nailed it. Nobody can do it better. So you can practice it in your hand like this. You're going to move your hand up because there's where the melody is. See that? 1, 2, God only knows. And you're going to change right there, right after the B hits. Now while you're doing all of this, you can just be hitting the E and the G sharp. We've got an F sharp chord. You can do that. You can just hit the A and the C sharp. And then let your left hand. All right. Okay, good. Let's move on to the next part of the song. The left hand's going to go like this. That's quite a jump. You probably want to make sure you put your 3 right here. And then be ready for your jump, and it's an octave. to the F sharp, go ahead and change your hand position. Put your 2 there. Same thing, 3. Okay, so that's your left hand. It's nice to practice that with a metronome or with the Beach Boys. Make sure you got your rhythm just right. Now the right hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. I put my pinky on the G. All right. They fit together like this. Isn't that such a good little break right there? It just gives you something completely different and kind of staccato. It just kind of messes you up. Brian Wilson's amazing at that. It's just giving your brain an extra shift before he brings you back to the beautiful again. Because as soon as that happens, the Beach Boys come back in with their magical harmonies. Oh, look how powerful that sounds with a D in the bass on the G chord. And now we've got an E minor 6 chord. I think that's a lovely way to voice it. Of course, we'll have to play the melody on top, right? I'm forgetting myself and singing it because I want to sound like the Beach Boys. So there's a pretty good way, right? We put the melody on the top. We've got the 5th and the 6th right there, so pretty. We've got an F sharp in the melody up high. Why not hit all of these? It's a B minor 6 chord with an F sharp in the bass. Make sure and keep these going. Kind of tricky fingering. Maybe do your 4 on there. And now we've got an E chord with a D in the bass. And I try to cover all of the voices. I think Mike Love comes in here, ba 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 ba, right? Ba, 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 ba. And just like we did before, we're gonna play all of those notes, and your hand is keeping the quarter notes. So just wherever you can, keep the quarter notes going. And now we've got an A chord with an E in the bass. So we've got a D sharp half diminished chord. You could just I'd do that. I just keep the A. I just keep the A, do an octave, and then come back down. I do think that middle section, all of that we just played, I think that your left hand would actually be fine just playing whole notes through that. Because we're adding a few more notes to the left hand most of the time. Just all you have to do is just hold on to them. I don't remember how we voiced this. Here maybe? Right, just whole notes down here. Much more than just hold on to your notes. Then after you finish that section and we have the God only knows, then you can come back and start doing the same kind of things where you accent the and of 4 and the 1 and the and of 2 again. And it goes right back to the DS or the 3rd verse. I love that. I mean, God only knows what I'd be without you. 3rd verse. If you should ever leave me. It's so nice. And we've done all of that before, but then we've got this coda. Life would still go on, believe me, the world could show nothing to me. So what good would living do me? Right, and then God only knows what I'd be without you. Coda. You could hit those voices if you want. God only knows. You could do it down there that time if you want. You can get a little bit rubato. It's hard to repeat and fade on a piano, so you might want to have an ending like that and end on an F sharp minor chord maybe. Now, we can modify it, you guys, if this is way too tough for you. Half notes with your left hand, melody with your right hand. Okay? This is a modification. I know it's not as exciting. I think it still is beautiful. You can totally do that, just half notes with your left hand, just the same as we talked about. You know, you use the same skips, a sixth and a fifth, and you play the melody. You know, I noticed a mistake with my melody right there. I have a C sharp where a C natural should be written, so I'm fixing that, and I think we're good to go. Such a great tune. I love playing it. I love playing and singing it even more than I just love playing it. But hopefully this will be fun for you. Hopefully it's not too much to tackle. I really don't think there's any shame in modifying it like I did at the end right there. Just melody and left hand and half notes. But take some time. Play it with a metronome a little slower if you need to. Play it with the Beach Boys where you're just doing your quarter notes. You might need to break it down into little chunks for yourself, little sections. Just play the left hand along with the Beach Boys. Always play along with the Beach Boys. They're amazing. They're one of the best bands there ever was. Play along with them. You can be their piano player. Just your bass notes, just your quarter notes, just the melody. There's 3 sections to this, to being a solo piano player, aren't there? There's bass, there's chords, there's melody. You can play them all one at a time if it's too much for you to try to tackle it. But play right along with those guys. Brian Wilson will be happy that you are, I'm sure. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time on Aimee Nolte Music.